Hello and welcome to my textile adventures. If this is your first look at my videos, I'm Haerland and I have been making quilts and textile art for about 30 years now. It's been a fascinating journey, starting in the USA and now continuing on in Australia. This video is one in a series about the concepts, approaches and techniques that I use in my work every day. They're divided into sections, one for each major area of what I do and how I do it. The first 4 DVDs of my textile adventures covered how to create skies, backgrounds, water and foliage, explaining and demonstrating lots of textile techniques. Techniques that can be applied to many other textile requirements. These final 2 DVDs cover trees and foreground, again with many different ideas. In DVD 5, I show you how to find and save interesting tree shapes to serve as a pattern base for creating them in your work. The variety of trees is immense in shape, size, texture and colour, and with an added dimension of things that grow on trunks and branches. You'll learn many approaches for creating tree trunks and how to combine them with foliage to reflect light and shadow. The texture of the trunks is an important section of the DVD, including manipulating the chosen fabrics with heat stressing and painting. You'll also learn about stamp making and stamping tree fabric. A whole chapter is dedicated to creating imaginative bark patterns by layering with all kinds of materials. The key machine stitches and embellishment techniques are also explained and demonstrated, including an invisible applique to your textile piece, and couching with a special foot or using a satay stick. DVD 6 is all about the foreground of your image, which to me means all the things in your work that are close to the viewer and therefore are larger, more detailed, have stronger colours, etc. I'm particularly fond of leaves in the foreground, and this DVD starts with a demonstration of the machine stitches I use as a baseline for creating leaves. You'll see how I sew stems with satin stitch, leaf spines and veins, and I go over my favourite wiggle wiggle, figure 8 and S-shaped stitches again. Maple leaves are some of my favourites, and I create and collect leaf patterns from real leaves. I make double-sided fabric leaves with Lysofix and sew the outline with tiny stitches before I cut out the leaf. And for some, I paint with glue to get a natural scrunched look. I make patterns from gum leaves as well, by scanning them and keeping the photos as a collection. You can make them very realistic or give them a fantasy look as a bookmark if you like. Leaves become old and quite interesting, and I demonstrate how to use water-soluble ultrasolvy to create both realistic and decorative leaf effects. I also show you how to create 2-sided organza leaves and cut edges with a burning tool. As a last leaf technique, I show you how to do paint stamping with leaves. Rocks are my next foreground element, and I demonstrate how to use Tyvek for rocks, heat stress, cut and place them. There are lots of fabrics that can work for rocks, and I show you how to select and shape them. And I show you rusting, layering and surface embellishment. There are also lots of things that grow on rocks, and you'll learn how to create these to add to your rocks. There's no end to the things you can choose to place in the foreground as focal points. Animals, insects, birds, plants. You'll learn techniques for creating these elements, techniques that can be applied to virtually anything you want to try, such as using photo fabric, machine embroidery, and many more. The final foreground effects are about my initial definition of what foreground elements have in common: closeness, colours, detail, etc. I show you how to make things look closer and to place elements on top of your overall image to bring it all to life. Just some more ideas.